12% of the world's population is of people who wet their beds at night. I've met somebody who is about 30 years old. She's even afraid to have a boyfriend. She can't get married because of her shameful secret. She's a daily bedwetter. I've met a situation where a lady told me in her house it's dad who is a bedwetter. Even the children have stopped. Just the other day, I was called by a gentleman in the coast area who told me he's about 60. He has never stopped bedwetting. Now he even has grandchildren who laugh at grandpa when he wakes up in a bed filled with urine. My name is Lucy Wambui. I was born in Nairobi, Kenyatta National Hospital, in December 1968. Throughout my childhood, I was troubled by the whole matter of bedwetting. Yani ule mtoto mkojozi of like daily, when you sleep, you wake up dripping urine. And that condition for me persisted right up to the age of 15. Big girl, having the period, is a chronic bedwetter. And I would like us to share about what this is, the causes, the effects, and the remedy for it. And I'm sure for anybody maybe who is watching us and who is going through this with their child, or who is going through this in their personal life, the desperation, the lack of compassion, the total lack of information on this, all these factors actually add up to making life miserable for the bedwetter and for their family. Remember, this is somebody who wakes up in a wet bed every day of their life. An impatient caregiver can be punishing your child in a place like boarding school, or in a place like the home, where the house help who has to clean up after your big child who is a bedwetter is impatient with your child, and they are maybe scolding the child harshly every morning. Or even an impatient parent who doesn't know what this is, who doesn't know that this child doesn't want to do this, but they have no control over what happens when they sleep. The desperation, the pain, the anguish, the anxiety. I have met kids, older kids, teenagers, who have told me that they're in a state of depression out of this. That's a high school boy, 15, 16 years old, in a top performing national school, but they are a bedwetter and it is making their life crap. This condition deprives you of quality of life, the bedwetter and the family. I've met somebody who is about 30 years old. She's even afraid to have a boyfriend. She can't get married because of her shameful secret. She's a daily bedwetter. I've met a situation where a lady told me in her house it's dad who is a bedwetter. Even the children have stopped. Just the other day, I was called by a gentleman in the coast area who told me he's about 60. He has never stopped bedwetting. Now he even has grandchildren who laugh at grandpa when he wakes up in a bed filled with urine. So I talked to him. He told me, because he had me speak somewhere, he took down my number and called me. And he told me, you are doing a wonderful job. Tell me how I can go about this to stop. I was chatting with a lady with a very, very touching testimony. She told me she's a mother, she's a bedwetter. She has a child who is also a bedwetter. Her situation is so, so desperate. She sometimes even thinks of taking her life out of this. But the only thing that is stopping her is to think of what will happen to her special need child. Who's going to take my bedwetter kid in if I am not around anymore? And she told me about her friend also, who they were sharing with on this journey, on their experiences. This friend is a bedwetter. She spent a night with her boyfriend, and she had an episode of bedwetting in that man's house. And the man talked about it in their groups, in their social networks, with their friends. He spread the news all around about what she did in his home, in his bed. And apparently this lady took her life out of the shame. She ended it all. Remember, this is somebody who is suffering all this pain, all this desperation in her life. And then somebody has talked about it carelessly, like this. We want us to know that if you encounter somebody who has an issue like this, you can direct them where they can get help. Let them know this is a medical condition and nothing else. It's not like somebody is lazy. It's not like they are a freak. It's not like they are walirogwa na mama mdogo. We need to know this is purely medical. I'm an only daughter in my family, and I was the only child who was a bedwetter in that home. I got 4 brothers and myself. So kuna vile I was overprotected because of being the only daughter in this home. So I was protected from a lot of things. For example, my mother would not allow me to go to do something like a sleepover. Kulala hata kwa auntie, no. Because nani atakushughulikia? Na ukilala kwa wenyewe wakasirike because of umekojoa kwa vitanda vyao, kaa kwenu. Sisi tumezoea. I was also not allowed to go to boarding school. I've never been to boarding school myself because of this. Mama yangu alisema mtoto wangu hataenda kuchunwa na akina matron huko. Kaa nyumbani, kule tunakujua. So in a way, I was protected from a lot of things, and still it deprived me of a lot of personal freedoms, really, to grow up. First of all, when you have boys, they love to tease. They would tease me horribly about my condition. Waking up to a cold bed every morning will even deprive you of sleep. Because from the minute you urinate in your bed and it goes cold, then you'll be sleeping in a cold bed the rest of the night. There's not much sleep that you can get out of that. Sometimes if you have a situation where your beddings are not going to be washed every day, there are situations where it's hard to do laundry every day. Maybe there's no water, or mom has a job, or mom is living away from the child. These children sleep in a wet bed every day. I see the children in boarding school where you have to wake up in the morning, everybody's going to preps, everybody's going out to breakfast, there's no time to do laundry. So you see a lot of these children sleep in a wet bed or in smelly bed linen. I have seen a teacher tell me that he finds children, the bedwetting child, they slept in their school shorts and now it is wet. And even the other one is wet because he wasn't able to wash it yesterday. Now he doesn't even have something to go to class in. And all he can do is tell the child, azima hata suruali ya mtu, hata kama ni chafu, uende darasani. But even to come home, to come out of school and go and wash his clothes so that you'll have a fresh, clean set of clothes in the morning is difficult because there are preps in the evening. So all these added to the stigma that society places on this. You won't believe how many media houses I've knocked the door on with my issue. I would like to talk about this. Either they don't understand it or they feel that it is a shameful topic to be having. I just get the door banged in my face. Nobody wants to talk about it. I'm grateful to any platform that gives me an opportunity to talk about this. It's something that happens in our homes. We all know somebody who does this. Maybe we are making fun of them out there, or ridiculing them, or punishing them, or hiding them the way my own mother hid me from shame. We need to come out and start talking about these things. The medical term for this condition is nocturnal enuresis. So enuresis is just the state of being unable to control your urine when you sleep. And this becomes an issue after the age of 5 years. By the age of 5 years, everybody should have dried. But a population of like 10, 12 to up to 15% of the world's population doesn't dry at that age. So when it persists beyond that age, it's a medical condition. And it should actually start to be treated. Interventions should start to be made from that age. So the one that happened to a kid, maybe they went to a party and they drank a lot of soda na akakojoa usiku huo. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about 3, 4 times a week or daily bedwetting after the age of 5, 6 years. And this condition is more common in boys than girls for reasons not known. We would also like to point out here, we're not talking about the frequent urination that is associated with something like diabetes, because that one happens even during the day. This bedwetter, the nocturnal enuresis, this one is just when they sleep. And they have no other medical condition going down for them. But akilala, kojoa. This condition has no quick fix cure like this. There is no surgery or there is a medication that a lot of people who come to me tell me they have been given some medication by a doctor. Basically, that's medication to reduce the volume of urine produced in the body. So when they're on this medication, they will stop. Dawa zikiisha wanarejelea. Wengi sana wamekuja kwangu wakaniambia they have experienced this. So we also want our medics to start taking this thing with some seriousness, maybe go back and read up on their notes about what enuresis was and the treatment for it, because also a lot of people have come to me and told me we have been to doctors, we have seen all manner of doctors, and they brush it off. Some tell us wachana na mtoto atawacha. Akifika umri fulani atawacha. And they reach that umri fulani and they're still bedwetting. For our doctors, this is kind of like, it's no big deal. Our medics grapple with life and death issues. People come to them when they are very, very far gone in diseases, bad diseases, cancer, diabetes, hypertension, killer diseases. So for them, this is something that it's no big deal. Wachana nayo, itaacha ikiwa peke yake. But sorry for, I don't want to diminish the severity of something like cancer. But for a parent with a bedwetting child or bedwetting children, this is the cancer in their home. This is what is depriving them of joy, of enjoying the childhood of their children, and it is reducing their quality of life. It needs to be treated with the seriousness that it deserves. Parents have told me their children, especially when they reach teenage and they are bedwetting, parents have told me they can see the change in the child. I can see that this is affecting my daughter's self-esteem. I can see this is bothering my son. I can see this is making my son to even feel, because a mother will tell you that they can smell urine in their teenage son. So if I can smell it, maybe even the girls can smell it, and they can avoid my son or my daughter. No matter how much you wash the bedding, no matter how much you wash the child's clothes, no matter how you do what, the bedwetter will always smell some residual urine about themselves. And I've seen kids in school tell me that even my playmates isolate me. They say I smell. And that can be very, very disturbing, especially for early teenagers and later teens, who for them belonging is everything in the world. We don't want to have anything that is pushing down the mental well-being of our children. If your child is a bedwetter, attend to it, because that is bothering, that can bother them a great deal, more than we know, more than we can imagine. Causes can be physiological, causes can be physical, causes can also be, some of them are unknown. Physiological, we're talking about maybe somebody who has an overactive bladder, kanapiga makojo sana. It's producing a lot of urine and needing somebody to relieve themselves frequently. You may have seen in school those children who during the first lesson in the morning they will go twice. They ask for permission twice to go to the loo. An overactive bladder can contribute to this. A small bladder that cannot hold the volume of urine that is produced in the body in the night. We sleep 6 to 8 hours. This bladder cannot hold the volume of urine that will be produced in that time. A deep sleeper. The child sleeps and the muscles relax completely. So urine can come out and they won't even feel it. There are also other issues that cause a child to develop secondary bedwetting, and this is also very, very frequent. I have met it in my work. A child tells you they were dry. From primary school right up to class 8, I was dry. When I went to Form 1, I've become a bedwetter, a daily bedwetter. This is very, very frequent. And the parents at home may not know this because the kids tell you, when I come home during the holidays, just 1 week, just 2-3 days at home, I'm okay. The bedwetting stops. When I go back to school, it recurs daily. So there's some psychotrauma that a child has encountered growing up. A child has encountered some abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse. They're being bullied in school. We have moved. We used to stay maybe Thika Road. We have moved to Ngong, a place where it's just the child and even the playmates are maybe kilometers away. The child was living in an estate. There were a lot of court children to play with. The child had formed attachments there. You've removed it to another environment. This trauma can manifest itself in bedwetting. So if you see that a child who had dried is now frequently wetting the bed, explore what has happened. Find out the cause. Because there would be some trauma the child has encountered. And it doesn't have to be necessarily a bad thing like abuse. Even getting a new sibling. That newborn who was brought home by mom, who everybody now, their attention is on this one. You can see the older child begin to do childish things and even to become a bedwetter. So explore, what is this change I'm seeing in this child? Not just, may not manifest in just bedwetting. A change you can see in the child, they have become withdrawn. They have become too quiet. They are so moody. They can explode in anger over a small thing. Something may have happened to this child. Let's become people who talk things with their children. Let them feel easy. Let them find it easy to come to us and tell us about what is troubling them. Talk about their day in school. How was it? Talk about their day at home. Talk about their experience. They went to shags. What is happening there? You know, some of these cousins are not very good people with our children. Our children can be done things there which they cannot come and tell us. Let's be people who pay attention. And I'm glad in this line of my work, I know the common saying is that parents have no time for children these days. But in my experience, parents are deeply concerned about whatever is troubling their children, especially on an issue like this. Parents are like this. They are so much with it and wanting to find a solution for this. I find so many parents digging, asking me probing questions. What are the causes of this? What happened here? And then when we discuss about it, I ask a parents, was there somebody who was a bedwetter among you? And they tell me, yes, I was. I stopped when I was in class 5. I stopped when I was in Form 1. If a parent was a bedwetter, it's likely that a child can be a bedwetter out of this. They can birth a bedwetter. If both of them were bedwetters, chances of their child being one are about 75%. Yeah. And I tell parents that it helps to share with your child. For example, I was a bedwetter. I was conscious that maybe my child can have this condition. He turned out not to have one. But I was prepared to be understanding of it if it happened. And a lot of mothers actually wake up in the morning to do washing of the kids' bed linen. They wash the bed sheets quickly and hang them to dry and put the mattress on the balcony or on the wall to dry as they go to work. And they do this every day. And they do this just so that the child can sleep and bedwet again. There are so many adults who are suffering in bedwetting alone in their homes. Maybe they did something like move out of home, but they wake up to a wet bed every morning. They're even afraid to get into a relationship. They wonder whether they will ever get married. Who will take me? Who will understand me in my situation? 12% of the world's population is of people who wet their beds at night. So solutions have been found for this. A German pediatrician put together a contraption to awaken the nurse, to alert the nurse in the ward that a child in bed X has amejikojolea, aende abadilishiwe. Over time, that contraption was observed to have a therapeutic effect on bedwetting, like it would make it better. Like a child would develop the instinct of waking up before the alarm goes. And so an item called a bedwet alarm was developed. It is in use all over the world to help stop bedwetting. And this item has actually been used right here in our country. Several families, several parents have procured this item for their bedwetting children, and even adults have used it, and they have stopped bedwetting. And I'm talking about here in our country, Kenya. So the bedwet alarm is a very, very simple gadget. It's a small gadget. It is used, it has an armband that is slipped on the upper arm, and it has this cable with a sensor at the end. So this sensor, this alarm, is activated by urine. I know so many bedwetters have used the alarm, like of the phone or the alarm clock, wake the child up at 1 a.m. or at 2 a.m. to go to the bathroom, and you wake the child up and you find that she has already wet herself. Or you wake the child up and they tell you, Mom, I don't want to go. And when they sleep around 5 a.m., wanakojoa kwa kitanda. So this alarm here was developed purposely for the bedwetter. It goes off when the person begins to bedwet. Just drops hitting this will set off an alarm like this. That's an alarm, that's a sound, and it has a vibration on the arm. It's loud enough to awaken even the deepest sleeper. Just needs to get some getting used to. So this alarm, it doesn't mean that you're going to be sleeping with this gadget for the rest of your life. The therapy period is just 6 weeks. 6 weeks will have acquired a body clock of waking up when the bladder fills. Because this is what the normal person does. When your bladder fills, you can awaken at whatever hour and go to the bathroom. So this will wake you up, go to the bathroom, come back and maybe change that panty, which is a bit wet, wear a clean one, and return the alarm there. Because there's some bedwetters who will susu once or twice or thrice in the night. There are some who will do it just once. Anytime you start to susu in your sleep, this gadget will wake you up and you'll go to the bathroom. 6 weeks, you'll have become used to waking up on your own. And that is how you get cured. Many have used it and they have gotten cured of bedwetting. It's all these causes that I have talked about. A small bladder, an overactive bladder, genes you got from your parents, some trauma that has happened to you that is manifesting like this. These are the things that we need to talk about. Of course, there are other causes. With the disease, there are always other causes that are not known, and they are causing this disease. But these are some of the most known factors. You explore, you'll find you explore them, their physiology, you'll find they have a small bladder. Some of the people who come to me have had their bladders profiled. A very expensive test, medical test. Some of them have an overactive bladder. They will tell you, I need to go every hour. Some of them will tell you, my parents will tell you they were bedwetters. Both of them or one of them. And what this gadget does is to get you to do some bladder breaks during your sleep because of your condition. There are people who can hold the whole night and wake up with their bladder pressing here after 6 or 8 hours of sleep. There are people who cannot. For any parent or caregiver, teacher, anybody who works with children who has encountered this, from now on going forward, we need to recognize this for what it is. It's purely a medical condition. It's very, very reassuring for a child to hear a parent say maybe, hata mimi niliacha nikiwa mkubwa. Nilipitia hii. Showing some compassion for this. Showing compassion to your child when they are going through something tough like this. It actually helps to strengthen the bond between you and your child. Sometimes we grown-ups behave as if we never passed through some of these things when we were growing up. It doesn't help. You bond with your child by sharing experiences like this and showing them understanding. Seek information about whatever it is that is troubling our children. And when we impart it to our children ourselves, they are likely to be more receptive about it. And growing up, they will know that mom, dad are the go-to persons when I have an issue. Not just this bedwetting, but every other issue. So I'm asking parents to exercise patience on this, patience and understanding. Your child doesn't want to be a bedwetter, but this condition is depriving them of some of these fun moments of life. Be understanding, be patient, be kind about it, seek information, and help them get out of this. Help them get some treatment as a management for this. Even adults have used this gadget and they stopped. But the good thing or funny thing about this thing is that when people stop, their children stop bedwetting, or an adult stops bedwetting out of the use of this gadget, when you try to do a follow-up on them, you find they don't want to talk much about it. Hii iliisha. Na wataki hiyo maneno mingi sana. Kwa sababu ya hii mambo ya stigma. Yeah, maybe there will be maybe 1 or 2 people who can give a personal testimony about how they stopped. But generally, people don't like to be reminded much about those days. The few who have gone public have been such a blessing to all of us, and they have encouraged us. But if somebody doesn't want to talk about it, that also is respected. Yeah, but I can assure you, many, going to about 100 people now, have stopped bedwetting out of this. I have registered an organization called Enuresis Initiative. It's actually called the name of the process itself, actually. Registered it with the NGOs Coordination Board of Kenya. So we are a registered NGO. That's our mandate for talking about this. We source this item from abroad, and this gadget goes for just 3,000 shillings. If it's in the environs of Nairobi, I meet with the person or I deliver to them and explain further any questions they may have. I will answer in that session. For upcountry people, I send by parcel. You can contact us, reach out to us, and we'll see how we can find a solution for this. People call me on my phone number 0713 679 187. 0713 679 187. Call that number, you're going to talk to me. So whatever need, whatever issue, whatever challenge we may be going through, Let's become a people that are proactive in finding solutions for this and find places where we can share this.